Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah. In this video I'm going to show you how to download, cut and assemble my pumpkin pie slice layered SVG. In the description of this video I've added a link to my website where you can go to download the free SVG. And then what you need to do is click add to basket. That will add a new message saying that it's been added to your basket, so then you can click view basket and follow the checkout process to download the file. I have a separate video which walks through exactly how to complete the checkout process step by step, so if you're having trouble for any reason, follow that link in the description of this video and it will take you to a separate video which will show you exactly what you need to click at each part of the checkout process to get your free files. Once you've downloaded the file, you'll end up with this zip folder. You can't upload zip folders straight into your cutting machine software, so you need to unzip it. If you've never unzipped a folder before, then it's really easy. If you're on a Windows computer, all you need to do is right click on it and press extract all and then extract. If you're on a Mac or a mobile device, then you may need to Google how to unzip folders on your particular device to find out how to do it. But once you've unzipped it, you can see I've got another folder here now. This one looks a little bit different. It doesn't have that zip on the folder, so I can double click into there to see all the different things that are included. The file is saved in lots of different types. So I've got DXF, which is for Silhouette Studio, EPS, PDF, PNG, and then finally the one that you'll want if you're a Design Space Cricut user is the one that starts with SVG. So for Cricut users, fire up Design Space and I'll show you how to upload your file. Go into the Upload button and then click Upload Image. Remember, the one that we want is the one that is SVG. So SVG is this one. It starts with SVG and then it ends in .svg as well. So I'm going to click and drag that. Now you can see mine has this PS image on it. Yours might not have that. So mine is because SVG files on my computer automatically open in Photoshop. Yours might show a Google Chrome icon or an Internet Explorer icon or something completely different, but the picture that it shows you, so my blue PS box, that does not matter. The thing that matters is that you're dragging in the one that starts with SVG. So now that's loaded, you can see I've got a preview picture of it. I can give it a name if I want to, but I'm just going to keep it as the default and then press save. This then goes into your recently uploaded images, so you can click it, press insert images, and then it will load. Now it will load really small by default, so you'll want to change the size either by clicking and dragging on the arrow icon, or you can use the size boxes at the top if you want to make it a specific size. And because all these layers are grouped, so all the different colours, it means you can change the size and it'll all change in proportion. So you don't need to worry about resizing each layer separately, you can do it all together. Now over on the right hand side you can see all the different layers that make up this cut. If you want to, you can change the colour of these by clicking on one, going into the colour box and choosing a different colour. But if you're happy to keep it as this, just make it the size you want, click on Make It, and then follow the instructions to cut it out of your chosen colours of paper and card. And once you've cut it out, then we will jump into assembling it. So when you've got all your layers cut out, they'll look like this. So I've cut this quite big. It's 10 inches wide when I resized it, so that it's nice and easy for you to see what I've done and how I put it together. The larger you cut these designs, the easier they are to put together, just because you've got more space. So to start with, you need to take the two pie crust layers, and the one with the gaps that we've got here is the one that goes on top of the one that's all the solid colour. So put the solid one to one side and turn the one with the gaps upside down so you're looking at the bottom. I'm going to stick mine together with 3D foam pads. You can also use the 3D foam that comes on a tape, or you can get little dots that are 3D, so any of those would work fine. I'm going to put some of my pads around the edge of the back of this piece of card. So you want to make sure you give a good enough coverage that it's not going to sag in the middle, which is why I'm putting these ones in the middle as well as on the outside. So you don't need to go crazy and cover the whole thing. This should be enough. If you want to, you can cut your foam pads smaller and put some into the pie crust just so that that sticks a little bit better. But as it's not going to have anything else on top, I think it would be fine just to leave as it is. So I'm just peeling the tops of my foam pads off so that the top goes all sticky. And then I'm going to turn it over, bring this one back in, and then carefully line it up so that it's exactly over the top of the bottom layer. And then push down to stick. Okay, next layer. So you've got these 3 layers of the pumpkin pie filling. You've got the completely filled in one, which goes on the bottom. Then you've got the one with just a few holes in it, which goes in the middle. And then the one on the top is the one with loads of different holes. Now I'm going to stick these top 2 together with glue rather than foam because I don't want my final pie image to be too tall, and I quite like how these ones look when they're just stuck together. So I'm going to set the base one away for a minute and just turn over this top layer and add some glue along the edges. You could use foam pads for this layer as well if you want to, it's completely up to you. If you've cut this quite small, then it might be a bit too tricky to add the foam to because these spaces between the holes will be quite small. So if that is true for you, then just use glue for this layer like I'm doing here, and it'll make it a lot easier for you to put it together. So you don't need to go crazy with the glue. I just got enough on there so it's going to stick nicely. And then again, just like we did with the pie crust, position it so that it's exactly over the top of that layer below, and then gently push down to stick the glue. Whilst that dries, I'm going to stick this layer to the pie crust. So turn it upside down. And again, take your foam pads and stick them on. I like to make sure there's one in each of the corners just to help it make sure that it's nice and stuck firm on there. If you don't want to use so many foam pads, you can cut them smaller and just then use half in each of these places rather than a whole one. That'll help you to save your materials so you're not using so many, and it should stick just fine. But for now, to make this nice and quick, I will keep them big. Alright, so I've peeled all the backs off these ones. I'm going to take the pie crust back in and then line it up. And this time I'm lining up these 2 edges of the pie filling with the edges of the pie crust. And stick that down there. So you can see you've got the nice crust along the top and the bottom just poking through. Next we need to stick this one on. So I'm going to turn it over, and this time I am going to use foam pads. So I just put a few on here. When you're working with layers that have lots of holes in it, like this one, you do need to be a little bit more creative with where you put your pads, because you need to make sure you don't put any over any of the holes. Otherwise, when you turn it upside down, you'll see them through the gaps. So I peel these off. And I'm going to stick this straight on top of the one that's already on there so it lines up with that one, and then push down to make sure it's all nice and stuck. So this is nearly finished now, and you can see the shadows where it's starting to be all 3D, but we've just got the cream left to do. So it's 2 layers, a filled in one and then one with gaps. The filled in one is for the bottom, and the one with gaps will go on the top. I'm going to add this one first, and I am going to need to cut my foam pads a bit smaller So just use a pair of scissors and go down. They cut really easily. And then once the foam pads are smaller, they're going to fit on the cream a lot better. So I think I'm going to need them even smaller, just so I can put one at the top and over on that side. Right, so turn that over and then stick it on top of the other piece of cream. And then it's up to you if you put 3D foam pads on this or if you just glue it to the top of the pie. It depends how much depth you want, but I think I will add some pads. So when you add the cream, make sure you only put glue or pads at the bottom of the piece of cream. And that's because when we stick it on, it's going to overlap the top of the design. So I'm going to position mine, I think about here. So it's above this straight line in the pie filling and it's just covering some of that crust. So I'm just going to push down the bottom bits, and if I turn it upside down, you can see this is why we didn't put foam pads on the top, because it's not actually touching anything. So here we go, here is our pie crust all nice and finished. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Cricut crafting tutorials, including lots more on how to make 3D layered designs like this one, including how to design your own. And if designing your own is something you're interested in, check out the description below this video and I will link to a tutorial on how you can make your own layered images in Design Space. Thank you for watching. Bye!